Hi, my name is Urvi Zaveri from Urvi's Creamy Creations, and today I'm going to show you sharp edges on a square double barrel cake. So let's get started. I'm working with a 5-inch cake, right? And I have kept a baseboard beneath it for my perfection, getting the perfection of the sharp edges. So as it's a double barrel cake, this is actually really important to have a base beneath it, right? Spraying it with some water so it remains moist inside, and here's my whipped cream. Just before starting, I'm mixing everything again so that it does not be so dry to use. Take a nice dollop of it and start layering your cake. So try to reach out to the corners as well, because there's that is the main area where it goes on the downside, right? Putting my second layer. Again, spraying in some water. You can even use sugar syrup. I don't want it to be too sweet, so I'm just using plain water. Try to meet around with all the edges. Okay, so here is my fourth layer, right? Press it firmly down so that everything sticks together. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll scrape off the cream from all the sides this way and give a light crumb coat as well, moving around. So after my fourth layer is gone up, I'll again spray it with some water and use some cream again. As it's a double barrel cake, we cannot still keep on building our layers to layers. What we need is a support which will be fixed first in the center halfway through, and thereafter we'll place our rest of the layers, right? So I'll just use some bubble straws or any kind of thick straws to place it in the 4 corners, and then a center dowel at the end. So now what I'll do is, after pushing the bubble straws inside the 4 layers, I'll place a small cardboard, smaller in size, on top of that to give support to the rest of the layers, right? Again, just apply a little lighter cream on that board as well, so your layers don't move here and there. there goes our last layer. Remove all the excess cream from the sides and do a crumb coat. You can use the cream which we were removing in the between, right? So to seal your crumbs. Just fill in the gaps you see anywhere to get the nice finish of your cake. In case if you find some areas to be quite uneven, the cake popping out, you can just trim it out with your serrated knife. If you find the top to be uneven, you can just use a serrated knife and slightly, with the help of your hand supporting the cake, just remove the excess. Be very slow and gentle when doing this step, otherwise you might chop off a chunk of the cake. To go almost, I'm just filling all the areas where I can see the cake now. I can see a lot of bulk on one side, so I'll just slightly move towards the do is I'll again spray on the top and give a slight crumb coat on the top as well, and the sides which I had trimmed off. For that I would need a little bit of cream. I'll spread it and seal all the crumbs coming on my way. We are almost done. Don't worry, we will be sealing everything and finishing with sharp edges at the end. So here we have crumb coated our cake, and now I'll pop it in the fridge for at least 15 to 20 minutes so that the cream sets and the crumbs don't come out when we do our final layering. So here is our after 15 minutes the chilled cake, and the cream, the whipped cream which I have colored it in grey, I have added few drops of black gel color to it and just mixed it slightly, right? I wanted some uneven shade. I don't want it to be complete jet gray color. I want it to have a few here and there lines of gray and black, right? So what I'll do is I'll start folding it again this way, and then after smoothing it, what I'll do is now I'll start applying on the sides. Take little at a time and go in up and down direction this way. Take your own sweet time to do this step so that you get a nice even surface. Move towards the upper edge so that any excess can be later removed, right? Excess cream application is important here, so that when you smooth out to get the sharp edges, you don't end up continuously adding and removing. It goes at one go, right? Try to keep a side view of the cake so that you can visualize that it does not have dents and bumps and all that, and it's a nice smooth finished cake. Now I'll be doing the opposite side first and then going on the rest two sides. Now with the tall bent scraper, I'll first smooth out the edges. Keep it straight like this towards the cake and remove. When you're removing it, you will notice where your cream is not there, it's less and it's not getting even. So I can see there's little less cream on this area, so I can apply little more on this area. Any excess would be obviously removed when you're continuously smoothing out the edges and getting the sharp ones. This way, right? So there's little left here. I'll just apply there and smooth it out. Again, the same manner. We still have to do a final application, so if a little bit is still left over, that's absolutely fine. We'll do it in the end. I'll do the opposite side. Move the cream as much as possible towards the upper direction, right? So we can get the edges on the top as well properly. Otherwise, there are chances of you to mess up with the top part and the crumbs might come out, right? Don't worry, we are not actually applying a lot of cream. We are going to remove the excess once all the areas are done. Okay? Okay, now we got all our sides properly. Now with again my tall bent scraper, what I'll do is I'll just run it as we did for the other two sides. Here we are just removing any excess and pushing it either on the top side or on the sides like this. Okay? Okay. So now what I'll do is first I'll place the cake in the center like this. Now with a plastic smoother, I'll just run around the cake to get everything smooth. Now you have to start filling the gaps wherever necessary. Go from the top to the bottom and smooth out everything. Okay, there's a lot of cream excess here. So what I'll do is I'll heat up some water. I'll use hot water to remove this with the help of a palette knife, right? And it will give me a nice cut and a smooth edge as well, right? Okay. So I've got some hot water now here and I'll use my knife a long knife, right? And I'll just chop off the edge here. Slowly. If you feel the cream is coming out which you didn't want to, just lift it back and move, right? Here there's some excess. I'll remove it off, and again I'll start smoothing with the help of some hot water. If you find the cream is less a little bit here, you can use a little cream here, apply it and smooth out everything. Right? That's it. Again, run. If you feel your cream is drying a lot, you can just use some water spray to restore and start working quickly. Okay, there's a lot of cream stuck out on this side. So as I said, again, I'll just dip my knife in hot water and first try to chop off that excess slowly, right? This way. And do the other one as well. Slowly, like this. And smooth out the edges. So before finalizing all the 4 edges, I'll now finalize my top so that I get everything proper. Right? So now for that, again, just quickly smooth out your cream before starting on the top part, so you don't get a dry cream layer on the top. Just getting everything in the center, mixing it properly, and then a plop of cream on the top. Slowly fill in the gaps wherever there is no cream, moving towards the edges softly and slowly, like this. Try to even out as much as possible, removing any excess. Okay, especially work on the corners so that when you're finalizing your cake, you don't have droopy corners. Right? Smooth out on the top part this way, and now again with the help of your knife you can chop off the excess. Clean every time you change the side. If you have to do it twice, that's absolutely okay, just to get it proper. you find there are gaps, like see, I can see a little bit gap here, you can just use a little bit of cream there and fill in. You have to continuously work this way till you are satisfied with getting all the edges sharp. So now I'm just doing the final touch up. It is like a continuous keep on doing it and getting the edges correct, right? So now this is the last step. We are just smoothing out the top areas to create the edge now. And there you go. This is our razor sharp, super sharp edges for your square block. So after getting the sharp edges on the square double barrel cake, now we are going to decorate it with some designs. That is, we are going to do some palette knife painting, as well as we are going to pipe some floral designs on the cake, right? And for that I'm going to use Noor nozzles. Noor is one brand I really love using, one of the oldest brand in India. So here I have Noor 45 number tip for the leaf. Then I have 18 number tip of Noor for piping out the floral pattern. Then I have 1 number tip, the round tip. Then I have this tiny floral print floral tip, that is Noor nozzle number 5. So these are the nozzles which I'm going to use here for designing my decorating my cake. So let's go ahead. So now before starting, what I'll do is I'll spray the whole cake a little bit so that it again gets moist, right? It's quite dry. So I'm just spraying a little and draw some random lines like this. Now with the help of this kind of a tool, like this is a sculpting tool which I'm using, right? And this is a kind of a leaf kind of a structure which I'll be putting on the cake, right? So I'll make few leaves like this. Put an impression inside, remove the excess. You can work this way, opposite side. after every dent. Do it on one more side like this. With nozzle number 5, this is the tip, the smallest flower tip. So now first of all, with the help of our palette knife, what we are going to do is we are making tiny flowers like petals to showcase flowers, right? So I've taken some cream over here, right, and with the help of this kind of a palette knife, I'll be making small petals. First, smooth out your cream properly. Remove excess on the back side, clean it. And take little at a time and make a petal like this. Look a little bigger. Just a kind of a fantasy flower. We are not making a real flower or palette knife painting, right? We are just creating a fancy flower here to give that extra beautiful look to the cake. I'll fill my piping bag with this red color whipped cream. I had colored this red and kept it to develop for some few hours like so. I got a nice deep red color in this. With the smallest tip, this is actually a flower tip which is of Noor number 5. piping small flowers like this. Okay, so now wherever we have made the flowers, we're just taking few lines inwards like this. So now with the help of nozzle number 18, this is a petal tip, right? I'll be piping some petals. With the help of nozzle number 45, that is the leaf nozzle, I'll be piping out some leaves and giving that extra beautiful look to the cake. This is olive green color added to the whipped cream and let it develop for some few hours again, right? So I got it beautifully dark color. Now I'll be adding just few leaves, tiny ones, we don't want big ones, like this, right? It again depends wherever you wish to add in. So now I want to add a little bit green on the edge of this white flower. So I have again taken my palette knife, right? So I'll be taking a little bit of green on the edge of the palette knife like this, right? And again moving upwards like this. Last but not the least, with the tip number 1 or tip number 2 of Noor, what you can do is you can pipe some dots to give that extra touch to the cake. Okay, so now with the help of round tip, pipe a center dot and create dots all around it with the gray color that we used for frosting our cake. So guys, here it is, a square cake, that too a double barrel cake with super razor sharp edges, and we have decorated it with palette knife painting, and we have used nozzles from .in.